we're going to start with the revision of few of the topics I thought, I mean, maybe you didn't understand it, or maybe the explanation was not right, like what we do in the class. So I'm just going to recapitulate a few things from the chapter on the blackboard. So I hope your doubts are cleared, but still, if any of the doubts are left, please let me know by messaging me. Okay, now let's start with what's there on the board. Now suppose on the road two objects are moving, that is a bike and a truck are moving. Okay, if you look at the structures of both of them, you will see that obviously the mass of the bike is going to be less than the mass of the truck, because if you look at the matter that is contained in both of them, and it looks as if when you're looking at it, the bike is going to be of a lesser mass than that of the truck, because it has less amount of space that is occupied, or matter occupied in the bike is less than the matter occupied in the truck. Okay, now next, if you look at, again looking at the structures of both of them, we can say that the bike is occupying a smaller volume, or less amount of space is being occupied by the bike, whereas when you look at the truck, a more amount of space is being occupied by this particular truck. So we can very confidently say that the volume of the bike is lesser than the volume of the truck. Okay, now the reason is why is this happening over here? Why do we say is because mass is how much stuffs it of things that it is made up of. If you look at the structure of the bike and the structure of it, or the shape of it, it is having lesser amount of things that it is made up of rather than the truck. If you look at the truck, it is consisting of a larger amount of things in it, and that is why we say that the mass of the bike is less than the mass of the truck, and volume occupied by the bike is less than the volume occupied by the truck. No problem up till here to everyone? None. Both the bike and the truck are matter, are objects or matter that is there. Now what is matter? In physics, when you define about matter, you always say, now as I was saying about the matter, okay, in physics, whenever you define about matter, we always say that any object is said to be a matter in physics, which has mass and it occupies volume. I will repeat, in physics we always say that anything which has mass and occupies space is what is known as matter. If we look at what is bike and the truck, both of them are having mass and volumes, okay, both of them. Now both of these objects are, that is why said to be matter. Okay, now if you look at that, why is the mass and volume less of the bike than that of the truck? If you look at the bike over here, the mass is less because it is having lesser number of molecules in with which it is being made. Is this clear? Whereas with the truck, it is having larger number of molecules with which it has been made. Now since both of them are said to be solid material, so intermolecular forces of attraction in this bike as well as the intermolecular forces in this truck over here for the molecules is going to be negligible, or it will be completely very less. Why? Because it is solid in nature, and the intermolecular spaces in a solid is very less. But yes, if you look at the size of it, depending on the size, you're having lesser amount of molecules for the bike. Depending on the size of the truck, you have more number of molecules for the truck. Are we clear with this particular concept? And this is what is there for mass and for a truck. Okay, for mass and volume for a bike and a truck. And this is just one of those examples to make you understand the concept of what is mass and what is volume. Is that understood by everyone? Okay. Okay, in activity 2, let's take one example over here. This is the weighing scale, okay, that I have drawn on the board, okay. Now I have put over here a cube of iron, and this is a sack of cotton. Cotton again, rui, okay. Now if you are going to put the look at the size of both of them. Looking at both of them, you can very nicely say that both of them are of different volumes, no problem of this. But when you put it on the weighing scale, you will find that the mass of both the object is going to be 1 kilogram over here. Okay? Now, the question is why? Why is this happening that this volume of iron is more than this volume of cotton, but still their masses remain the same? Now, this is something that we need to understand. In iron, if you are looking at it, since it's a solid object over here, you will find that the molecules are very compactly placed with each other and next to each other. That means that the intermolecular space between the molecules is going to be very less, and that is why when you're looking at the iron, the volume is supposed to be less. Now, let's go to this cotton, okay, रुई जिसे आप कहते हैं. The molecules in this cotton are very loosely packed next to each other, and that is why it has a large volume. And the other reason, very important one, is it is having more intermolecular space of attraction for the molecules or in between the molecules. Okay. Okay, that is why we are having one of the inferences that in the activity number 2, that same mass of different materials are having different volumes. Again, same mass, that is 1 kilogram, 1 kilogram, 1 kilogram of iron, 1 kilogram of cotton, having the same mass of different materials, but they are having different volumes over here. Simple reason is because of the intermolecular forces of attraction that is present in between them. Okay. Now, next I thought I would recapitulate is the formula for density. Now, density we have already said that is mass by volume, or the amount of mass, ratio of mass to volume gives us the density of any particular substance. Now, let's break it up. Okay. If you remember in my slides, I had discussed about what is directly proportional and what is inversely proportional. So I'm going to pay more attention or more stress on that particular thing as to what is directly and what is inversely. Now, if I'm going to break this formula of mass by volume, I can write it as mass into 1 by volume, no problem in this. If you look at this equation between density, mass and volume, okay? Now, if you look at density and mass, I can very nicely say over here looking at it is density and mass are directly proportional to each other. What do you mean by directly proportional to each other? As I have said in my slide also, if your density is going to increase, your mass will also increase. Now, if your density is going to decrease, your mass will also decrease. As I have said, एक बढ़ेगा, दूसरा भी बढ़ेगा, एक घटेगा, तो दूसरा भी घटेगा. Is that clear with everyone? Okay. Now, what does it mean that if I'm saying that the density is more than the mass is also going to be more? Now, if the mass is more, I can very well say that it is a heavier object. Clear with this? I don't think so there is any explanation that needs to go along with this. When your mass is going to be heavy, obviously your object is also going to be heavy over here. Okay? Now, if the density is less, mass is going to be less and your object is going to be lighter in nature. From this equation over here, that is density is equals to mass into 1 by volume. If we have derived is directly proportional, let's go on to the other part. That is density is directly proportional to 1 by V. Now, this relation over here is what is known as inversely proportional. Okay? Now, what happens over here in inversely proportional? अगर density बढ़ेगा, okay? Density अगर बढ़ेगा, volume आपका घटेगा, और density अगर घटेगा, volume आपका बढ़ेगा. इस equation से देखिए, अगर इसको हम बढ़ाते हैं, ठीक है? Obvious बात है कि ये आपका घटेगा, क्योंकि ये 1 by में आया हुआ है, और density अगर आपका घटता है, 1 by में अगर आया है, तो volume आपका बढ़ेगा. Is this clear with everyone? So this is a very important concept for you to understand. Okay. Now, coming to activity number 4. Again, how to find the volume of an irregular shaped object, and after finding the volume, how do you find the density? Now, let's say we are taking the stone over here. For doing this activity, as I said, we take a measuring cylinder in question. with the black, I have drawn the gradations that is there for this particular measuring cylinder. Let's say I filled it up, the liquid up to this particular level, and calling it as V1. Now, you are going to take any irregular shaped stone that you have it, and you are going to tie a thread like this. Okay? No problem to anyone? After doing that, you are going to drop that this object with the string tied into this particular measuring cylinder. Now, when you are going to allow this stone to enter this particular measuring cylinder, what you'll find is the level of this liquid is going to rise, as I have shown over here. The risen liquid comes over here to the volume, which is V2. Now, as I have said, why does it rise to that particular level? It rises to that particular level because it is the amount of water or liquid displayed by this stone when it is put into this particular liquid. Absolutely clear with everyone. Now, increase in the volume level and the original volume. If you take subtract both of them, you get the volume of this particular stone. As for finding the mass, we are going to use the beam balance. If you know the mass, you know the volume. Can you calculate the density? Again, it's very useful for solving numericals, to remember it. Okay? Now, as for finding it, I would zoom in my camera. Just give me a minute. Now, to this area, okay, this is the let's say the leaf. How do you find that area of this particular leaf? Again, as I said, we take a graph paper. Obviously, this is not a graph paper. Tried to draw one into it. I have traced the outline of that leaf over here. What did I say? First, you are going to take all of them which are complete squares in it. Okay. So I have put a tick mark for all of them. Okay. And the ones which are not complete, more than half of it, I have put a cross or an asterisk. And if you are counting all of that, you need to add the number of the complete squares plus the number of the more than half squares over here and write it down. So for mine over here, it comes to 13. Now, why am I writing 1 meter square over here? If you look at one square in the graph paper, you will find this that the length is 1 meter, the breadth is 1 meter. Now, when you find the area of this, you get it length into breadth. Multiplying 1 meter into 1 meter gives you 1 meter square, and that is why I have multiplied. Now, these are 13 boxes here. Now, this boxes, all these boxes are going to have a particular area, and that area is for one box is equals to 1 meter square. So 13 boxes into the area of one box gives you a 13 meter square, which is the area of this irregular shaped object, which is the leaf. Next discussion that I thought was relevant maybe is this. How do you derive the formula of relative density? Relative density again is just a ratio. Okay. Now, what is the ratio of? If you look at the name, relative density, that means it's a relative quantity of densities, and that is why it is known as the ratio of the density of the substance to the density of water. Why again I will say relative densities? That means that it is a relative density between two substances where the density of the water is taken in the denominator. So the ratio of the density of the substance to density of the water. Now, in this step, we can write density of the substance into 1 by density of the water. I have just broken this formula up. Now, density of the substance, we can write it as mass by volume, because I think everybody knows that density is equals to mass by volume. No problem to anyone in understanding, okay? Similarly, what I have done is 1 by density of water, that is 1 by mass of water by volume of water. Now, in maths, I think so you have studied this, you must have studied a reciprocal, okay? If you take 1 by any fraction, it becomes the reciprocal of that particular fraction. Is that clear? So 1 by A by B becomes B by A. Similarly, what happens to this is this one turns into mass of the substance to volume of the substance remains the same. Now 1 by mass of the water by volume of the water becomes volume of the water by mass of the water, which is the reciprocal of the initial fraction. Now, when measuring the relative densities, we always consider equal volumes of the substance and equal volumes of the water. Now, if you consider equal volumes of the water and equal volume of the substance, that means Vs is equals to Vw. So, both of these get cancelled. So, what are we left with? We are left with relative density is equals to mass by the substance divided by mass of the water. Is that clear with everyone? So, this I hope is not any confusion over here in this particular step for you to understand it. Okay? Now, relative density, how do you calculate it? Using the relative density bottle. Okay, now I will just explain that activity. That's activity number 5. Okay, now let's explain what is this these three bottles that I have drawn over here. First, what we are going to take is, we are going to take the mass of the empty relative density bottle. Okay, let's say that it comes to equal m1 grams. Second, what we do is, into this empty bottle, we are going to pour water into it. So what do we get the mass of these two over here? Then we get the mass of the water plus mass of the bottle over here. And let's call it as equals to M2. So our M2 over here is mass of the bottle plus mass of the water. So how do you calculate the mass of the water? From the second one, if you subtract the mass of the empty bottle, do you get the mass of the water over here? Okay. So mass of the water becomes as equals to, okay, now over here mass of the water will be M2 minus 1. I will say it again. Empty bottle mass M1, empty bottle plus water M2. Again, empty bottle M1, M2 is empty bottle plus water into it. So mass of the water is M2 minus M1. Clear up till here? What do you do over here is, empty the water out of it, dry it completely, so you get an empty bottle again. After that, you put the liquid, the desired liquid, whatever that you have to measure, we put it into this. So this bottle over here is having, let's call it as the third bottle. Okay. Now third bottle is having in the empty bottle that particular liquid of which we have to find the relative density of. Are we clear with that, everyone? Okay. So the third bottle over here consists of the mass of the empty bottle plus the substance that we have poured it in. So how do you find the liquid mass that we have poured into it? Mass of the liquid will be liquid plus empty bottle minus empty bottle mass. Gives you M3 minus M1 grams. Clear with this? Now we just learned that relative density is equals to mass of the volume of any volume of liquid and divided by mass of the same volume of the water. Again, I'll repeat. Relative density, I think we just studied, RD is equals to MS divided by MW. MS, mass of the substance or the liquid that we have to measure, and mass of the same volume of the water. Okay? Now let's look at the equations that we have it. Mass of the any volume of the liquid that we are having. Remember from the third one, mass of the empty bottle plus the liquid over here, and subtract the mass, the total mass, that is M3, and subtract the mass of the empty bottle from it, you must get the mass of the liquid. So you substitute equation number 2 into this particular value over here, that is the numerator. Obviously the unit is gram. For the mass of the same volume of water, we calculated it over here. What is going to be the mass over here? We are going to get it from this one. This had empty bottle plus mass of the water. So mass of the water is total minus the empty bottle gives you the mass of the water over here. Okay? That is M2 minus M1. Now, grams and grams are the same. So you strike it out and you're left with the equation that is M3 minus M1 divided by M2 minus M1. I will repeat what is M3. M3 is mass of the empty bottle mass of the empty bottle plus the liquid in it, and subtract it over here, you get the mass of that particular liquid. Okay? And similarly M2 minus M1 is the mass of the same volume of water. So when you use this formula, you get to calculate the relative density of that particular liquid in question.